Hello, good morning, Wolves fans. Welcome back to another podcast, another episode of the Old Golden Chat. Back after a 4-0 loss to West Ham, so you can just sense the enthusiasm coming through the microphones. Back with Liam. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Deflated. How about you?
Feels like normality has resumed after what was quite a positive month, maybe 2 months if we go with the 3 weeks delay as well. Just deflated. It's typical Wolves, isn't it? And we've now suffered a defeat that was pretty much the defining point to our season now. I believe, if I'm correct, if we lose to Leeds, is it Leeds next? If we lose to Leeds, we are mathematically relegated from the Premier League. And there goes the confidence of me. I mean, to be honest, look, we all knew it was going down anyway. It's not like a massive surprise, but it would have been nice to have some fun along the way. If we could have scalped 9 points out the 3 games, which was always going to be a massive task, it would have been fun. It would have been a great ride, but it wasn't to be. And Nuno has got one over Wolves after early on in the season. What did you make of the game now? Any positives?
Back the back five off when we get relegated.
Please.
Fed up of seeing it. It's boring. Jackson to chew on that right hand side when he gets the ball is like watching, a 13, 14-year-old on a Sunday take his fullback on. Like, it's just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic that these footballers are in the Premier League, man. Like, I'm honestly so frustrating yesterday. And there was times in the game, to be fair, where if I'm like outside our box and just past the halfway line, we looked quite smart. We was passing it quite well, like 2-touch football. But then we've just got nothing. I felt so for Armstrong. He looked so frustrated. Like he was making his runs every time, and he weren't even getting tested with the ball through. Like the players just could not react to put that ball in there, and and the games yesterday where that's where you need your Bellegarde to step up to create something. A chance, half a chance, anything to create something, and it all seemed to come from Hugo sometimes on that left. Queen and half decent, sometimes not even a good enough ball in, just to cause something to happen.
What do you think about the lineup? Obviously, we predicted before the game that we all was almost spot on. To be fair, we just dropped Angel Gomez and put Mane back in.
Yeah.
In hindsight, maybe we were wrong as well as Rob Edwards. I don't think tactically we set up the right way to go about that West Ham team today.
I just think you need an outlet. If Mane is not playing, Rodrigo Gomez has to start. We've got nobody else who can either run in behind or take on his man. So you need someone in there just to raise us up 10 yards, to get us all up the pitch and relieve that pressure a little bit. So yeah, but again, is that a lack of options? Because he obviously didn't fancy Mane yesterday, and he obviously didn't want to play Rodrigo. Who else? Wang. We don't want to see bullshit again. So
yeah, I mean, it would have been Tolu, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, but he ain't going to do that either, is he? Like, he ain't going to be taking on his man and running the ball. And when he does come on, I don't think he offers what I want to see either. But for me, I need someone on that pitch who's going to run with the ball and take us on, make us a bit exciting. Someone to watch when we've actually got the ball, and we just haven't, have we, across the squad?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway I got from the game yesterday really was the fact that when we actually got out wide, we exploited West Ham on the wings really well. We got down the flanks, we whipped balls into the box, and unfortunately, it just felt to me like every time we exploited them and got into good positions, the balls that were coming into the box were, and God bless him, Adam Armstrong's been great since he came in, but he's not built to be an aerial threat. And I just think, as much as he hasn't really set the world alight this year, Tolu, I think he might have been something that was needed yesterday, because I felt like when West Ham were pressing us high, we were lumping balls forward. Adam Armstrong was obviously going to get none of it with Mavropanos, who probably has the best game of his career. Disassi has been superb since he walked in the doors from Chelsea. But again, like when we actually got at their fullbacks, I felt like we created a lot of space and we did really well. It was the final end product that was the problem. And that's sometimes not even criticising the wing backs, because there was no one for them to cross to at all in that game. Not one person.
But like even when we did have our Rangers and Bellegarde getting in behind their centre mid, like the pass weren't even there. They didn't even give it to Armstrong to test him against the centre half, who's who might find him a bit tricky for his pace. It was just a poor outlet all round there.
Yeah, I mean that is the thing, really. Look, we can't be so one-dimensional. We all know that Rob Edwards likes the wing play. That's always been something that he liked at Middlesbrough, Watford, etc., etc. But we can't afford, especially with next season on the horizon, we can't be so one-dimensional. We can't just keep attacking down the wings because we have to create something through the middle. You're absolutely spot on. And your players like Belgart, Angel Gomez, they need to be tricky. They need to be more technical. They need to be more savvy with the way that they're playing with the ball. Adam Armstrong does make some really good runnings behind. If we had wingers, they would be running down the wing and give us another option, another outlet. This is where, for me, the five at the back fails because there is no sugarcoat in that game. We got battered. And the first thing that me and you said yesterday was Nuno Santo will not change the way that he plays. He's a counter-attacking manager. He will set up in a way that means when they break and counter-attacks, it will be fast, it will be direct. And if we've got too many players committed up the pitch, we will suffer. And for two of their goals, and realistically, it was the two that killed the game. That was exactly what happened. We committed too many men forward in high positions. And yes, we have got three players at the back, and I know Andre sits back, but it's just not working. And that's not a slight at Rob Edwards at all for me. I think that was just a game yesterday that was, to be honest, out of his control. I think the players let him down massively yesterday. But yeah, we need to stop being so one-dimensional because players like Angel Gomez yesterday were just pointless. He wasn't making runs. Every time he got the ball, he was just ragdolled about, crying for free kicks at every even call. And West Ham did play dirty, don't get me wrong, they did. And I thought the ref had an absolute honker of a game. But for everything that West Ham did, I don't think we deserved to win the game, despite having a good first half.
Yeah, but then you can't see the first half. You could sense the crowd getting edgy. Nuno looked a bit stressed. The players, like they was making wayward passes. We just needed to keep it tight, didn't we? Going to half time, 0-0, and we just lost them. Like Mosquera had an absolute disaster clash yesterday. Like he was in the minuses if I was giving him a match rating from the get-go. I don't know what he was thinking yesterday. He'd lost his head from the very beginning. And saying he's on his two-match ban now, to get a booking when you've been felled, he's pathetic, let's face it. Like, there's no other words good. And I know he's that maverick-type player, but he has to control that because he's going to let us down too many times next year in the Championship because he will get wound up. And there's now VAR to double check. They'll just send him off or give him bookings that you don't necessarily need to pick up.
Yeah, you're right. For all of the good that Mosquera has, he was awful yesterday. Even his passing, which sometimes I think he doesn't get enough credit for. I think he was really let down. He couldn't find a pass, couldn't pick a pass out. That one break where he lost the ball and he was very lucky that Santi Bueno got over, but I don't know what he was trying to do, just on the edge of his box. And he's trying to take it round an attacker rather than play the simple option, and he loses possession and he's looking that Santi Bueno just comes over and manages to intercept play. But for all the love that I have for Yerson Mosquera, that was an awful game yesterday.
Matthias in the middle as well, didn't he? Like he breathed. Like I didn't realise defensively like good he is, to be fair. Like, he's normally like that attacking side number 8, but he did well yesterday, play a lot. But then again, I think anyone could have broke up play that team yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I spoke at the start of the season, if you remember, about Mateus Fernandes, and there was a couple of players when obviously Leicester had gone down and Southampton had gone down. I was talking about Bilal El Khanous. I was talking about Mateus Fernandes. I was talking about Abdel Fattawu. I know Abdel Fattawu didn't really get to play last season. This has been the whole... That game realistically was like the epitome of everything that went wrong in the summer with the recruitment, because the positions that we lacked on the pitch yesterday were all kind of signs of the players that we should have been signing in the summer. We've got no creative outlet. Bilal El Khanous, Fattawu. We've got no midfielders who can really dictate a game by bringing it forward and playing well defensively. Mateus Fernandes, the wing-backs, we looked awful. Both sides, to be honest. I think Hugo Bueno was getting beat far too many times. Somerville was... I'll tell you what, Thatcher was going to have nightmares tonight. And that wasn't even a really good Somerville game, if we're being perfectly honest. He didn't do that much. Look, this is the third that we knew West Ham would have. With a front three of Castellanos, Somerville and Bowen, we knew that was going to be a hard game. And Wolves didn't cope. Shall we move to that first goal, I think, Liam?
Yeah, let's go.
From Jared Bowen, semi-cleared away. There was a little bit of wrestling on the ground between Gomez and Castellanos. I don't know if anybody picked it up. What I did whilst it was in the game. But Gomez kind of like pushed Castellanos to the ground. And Castellanos took a swipe at Joe Gomez, kicked his foot up in the air. So obviously that didn't get reviewed. But look, it's all in the part of the game, I suppose. But the ball comes back out to Bowen. Mavropanos holds his run off. Our defenders have dropped back a yard. And the ball's whipped in perfectly. And Mavropanos has all the time in the world, all the space in the world to get a good run. And a really, really decent header, to be honest, to the far post. Beats Jose Sarr. Jose Sarr can't do nothing with that. And it's defensively, it's really, really poor.
We've seen it how many times the last year or two where we just can't pick up players in the box who can score easy headers. Like, it was an easy header. He planted it on target, didn't he? Like, he didn't have to do. I think Mosquera was one that was meant to be picking him up. So if one of your centre-halves are marking their danger, for his height, for corners, they've got to do a bit better than that, mate, to be honest, in my opinion. I think it's all to concede. Straight before half-time as well. You just don't there, do you? Like,
no, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. But then that obviously took us into half-time. I think the plan was, as you've already pointed out, the plan obviously was to go into half-time 0-0, but it wasn't to be.
And then the second half began, didn't it? I don't think we come at the blocks at all second half. Then 2 goals that we conceded next. We both very similar. They like players running behind our midfield. Our centre halves dropping off, and I think both shots really was just bumbled into the corner, like question marks on the keeper, and our defence a bit more. But when you concede a goal, you cannot be conceding straight from kick. Like, I thought I was watching a replay. Like, I was like, what? It's literally this goal that is just so poor, and that's one of the reasons why we've been so pathetic. And let's say players have got a lot that they're still being cheered on, and it was just a poor 2 goals to concede. Then 3-0 against West Ham. It's just pointless. Like someone said in our chat, you might as well just forfeit the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I think the goals were always coming. I think ever so slightly before the second goal, didn't we have the Angel Gomez free kick that was taken really well, to be fair? He hit the post. But again, when we talk about West Ham and Nuno and counter-attacking football, straight from a free kick that hits the post, the ball's just hit long. You've got Somerville and Jackson Tachua in a 1v1. But Hugo Bueno's dropped back a little bit to kind of ease the situation, but the ball's just bounced in between the two of them. They're not talking. Like, this is Sunday League football stuff. This isn't even Sunday League. This is Kids League football stuff. Talk to each other. The ball's bouncing between the two of them.
Yeah.
Somerville's running through. And Bueno, Tachua stand there, can't figure out which one of them's going to try and take possession of the ball. In the end, Bueno drops off. Tachua, I don't even know what he tries to do. Somerville picks up the loose ball, is running through, and to be honest, it was poor on his behalf because he had Tati Castellanos, who was sprinting down the left-hand side, and if he would have hit the ball with the outside of his foot, would have made that pass easy. But he tries the spectacular to try and lob it over Jose Sarr, and it was a poor attempt. But that was the warning sign. That was still at 1-0. For me then, this is where I will talk about Rob Edwards in a bit of a negative manner. Either one of those two should have been ripped off after that. If you can't get the basics in football right, if you can't talk to each other, you shouldn't be on the pitch in the Premier League. You shouldn't.
I agree. In my opinion, the defender that's on the halfway line in that position clears the lot, takes the lot out, gets that ball back to the pitch for me. They put us under so much pressure. And then I know Jackson Thatcher has got great recovery pace. I know he has. But I wouldn't have even backed him to try and catch Somerville because he had a woeful game. He just, didn't do a lot for me yesterday. I do agree. I'd like the subs to be earlier.
Yeah, so the subs need to be earlier.
Yeah.
And I don't think the subs were right either in the game. Taking off, as much as I don't think Bellegarde and Angel Gomez had good games, taking them both off and bringing on Rodrigo Gomez and
Mane.
One of them should have come on in terms of either Rodrigo or Mane. I would have probably have said Mane over Angel Gomez. But if you're going to bring Rodrigo Gomez on, and I know we spoke previously about him being a bit more of an attacking threat now, Jackson Tachra is getting melted on that pitch. And if you don't trust Pedro Lima at that point and you think that Somerville's got a bit too much pace for him, that's the time when you go, Rodrigo, I need you to fill in at right wing back today, get us up the pitch, be defensively solid. And again, I think that's where Rob Edwards got it wrong today, especially with his line-up and his substitutions, to be fair.
Because Somerville can get lost in just tracking back, can't he? Like you were doing it yesterday, where 1-0, if you'd have made that sub for Rodrigo, I think you could have pushed Somerville back because he does track back and get stuck in. So you'd have took that limelight of him just absolutely running straight through our entire team, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. Should we move on to the fourth goal, Mark?
Yeah, it was just corner coming in and Mavropanos has already scored one, didn't he? Like, easy header. 4-0. I think West Ham deserved it as well because it was awful. It looked like they stepped out the second half. I think it was a bit gutting because we've had 3 weeks. We was all looking forward to watching our team, and we end up getting battered 4-0 from a team really that might get it. Like,
yeah, I think the break absolutely killed us, didn't it? At the end of the day.
But season, I just want it over with, mate. We've said it time and again. I don't want it anymore.
No, to be honest, I've already been eyeing up the away games for next season anyway, so I'm semi-excited to go there. I'll tell you what, just moving away from an on-the-pitch aspect of the game yesterday, how did you watch the pre-match talk?
Nah.
I mean, I know people say week in, week out, the lead up to Premier League games. They was talking all about Arsenal and Manchester City. And then once they've, got bored because they're talking about a game that isn't even being played today by either of those teams, they move on to West Ham Wolves, and all they're talking about is West Ham survival hopes. And then even when they're putting up the graphics of, and I get it, I get it, we are 12 points away before a ball's even kicked yesterday. It's going to be hard to, to stay up. But every time they put the graphics up of Spurs, West Ham, Forest, Leeds, Wolves and Burnley aren't anywhere to be seen. And look, we was talking before the game yesterday, obviously ridiculously, about if you get 3 points in the next 3 games, you're 3 points off West Ham. And look, I know it hasn't worked out that way, and then we're one foot out the Premier League door. But the pre-match build-up, and it hasn't just been yesterday, it's been crap for years on end. They suffer so bad in the Premier League with just talking about the top half teams that they don't even do the research into the bottom half teams. It's just Spurs are down the bottom. We'll talk about Spurs because De Zerbi's coming. West Ham are a really big club. We'll talk about West Ham and how they should probably stay up. Bewildered me. They was talking about Nuno being in about the 3 clubs who are in the bottom 4, 3 clubs that are fighting to stay up in the league out of the 4. And they didn't even talk about Wolves. His most successful stint in football was at Wolves. And we couldn't even get a mention. Oh no, we've been crap this season. Do we deserve to be talked about? I don't know. Probably not. But if you're going to talk about a whole fixture and you've got an open goal, you're talking about Wolves is probably the most successful manager in the last 40 years. That's took us from the Championship all the way to 2 consecutive 7th place finishes in the European quarter-final.
And a FA Cup.
And a FA Cup semi-final.
Which should have been final, to be fair.
And we're talking about it was even at Spurs for 6 months. We're talking about his reign at Spurs, where they sacked him wrongfully.
I know.
Get me out of the Premier League as quick as we can because I'm sick to death of it and I really don't care about it anymore. But we'll try and lighten up the mood of the podcast, I think, a little bit now. And we'll talk about some good news that has come out of the Wolves recently. Wolverhampton Wanderers have made some changes to make Molineux more accessible for young supporters and families next season. From a statement on the Wolves website, as part of the updated structure, the 18 season ticket prices will be capped at £175 across all stands for next season, while under 14s will pay £75, ensuring young fans can follow Wolves regularly at affordable prices. Obviously, all this came about with meetings with the fan advisory boards and the supporters, fan alliance, and all those kind of committees that kind of came together and made this kind of thing possible. So it's a big credit to everyone behind the scenes. A number of age categories have been updated as well to reflect supporters' needs. The previous under-17s category has been extended to under-18s to align better with school leavers. The vast majority in that band will save at least £100 compared to this season, which is obviously a really good thing and makes it a lot more accessible for families. Under 21s have now been moved to under 23s, so lucky for all of you lot who are just peaking at 21 years old, you'll now be able to get cheaper season tickets for another 2 years before you get to adults. Again, fair play to the club and Nathan Shee and everybody behind the scenes. And just to add on to that as well, the senior supporters of the football club will also continue to benefit with the 65 plus category remaining in place, despite the national retirement age moving to 67. So yeah, I mean that's all really good things, isn't it? To be fair, Liam, and it's something that we have to give credit to the club for. I know I put a little bit of a statement out on Twitter yesterday praising the actions, and I've took a couple of pelters online for some apparent reason because I praised Nathan Shee since he's come to the club. What do you think about the ticket prices and the structure, mate?
Yeah, I'll get why people are still angry because we there's a lot of still discontent with Fowson, isn't it? And people aren't going to see what you've written. Like they'll just see it as you praising Fowson, and you're not praising Fowson. You're just saying that they've done the right thing at the end. So we should be like the young kids and everyone across the board who support Wolves, and they shouldn't be having to pay like hardcore money just to watch basically our local team play, regardless if it's in the Premier League or the Championship. Like the ticket prices across the country do not need to be where they're at. I think it's a time where it's good to see there's a lot of clubs now and they're like putting things in place to make it more affordable. You get the likes of Liverpool fans that are like walking at the game today because of their ticket prices. Like it's across the board where actual generic fans, supporters of that team, we just want to see our team play. We don't want to be being cost the price of living that's going up. We don't want to be like thinking, oh, we're going to be able to afford it next year. We just want to watch our team play. Yeah, I'm glad that especially the younger generation, those the ones that we're going to need. How easy is it for them to turn the TV on and watch a Man United or an Arsenal game every week? I think Match of the Day has gone out the window now, hasn't it? Like it's on telly every week, so it's good that we can attract these young fans. We're losing every week as well. Keep them on board because they're the future wealth, aren't they? And with the older generation that have been there for those years and they've seen some good days and some dark days. It's good that they're getting looked after as well. It'd be interesting to see what they do with our type of ticket prices because I read somewhere someone said that it was only a 10% discount off from what we normally pay, but I have seen 25% as well. So that'll be interesting because I think that'll raise eyebrows if it's not what people are wanting or expecting.
Yeah, I think on that I'll obviously reiterate that the tweet mentioned was obviously praising Nathan Shee, not Fosun. I have consistently and will always be one of the first people to come on with yourself, with Nick beforehand, with Nathan, and give Fosun a bashing when they promise stuff and don't deliver on those promises. And it doesn't have to be about spending money. It can be absolutely anything. The tweet obviously comes from since Nathan Shee has come into the club. I feel a sense of happiness towards the club that we're finally being listened to. We've opened up communication. Like I said, the fan advisory board is back. The supporters groups, the fan groups have had meetings and openly communicated with the board who have listened. People can slag Fosun off as much as they want, but Nathan Shee is still a part of the Fosun group. Nathan Shee has listened. He must have communicated it somewhere because at a very, very small start, this is something that is needed. And in the grand scheme of things, people have to understand that a lot of Wolves fans, especially the older section of the fan base, have been burnt drastically by the way that Fosun have been over the last few years. Me, myself, I'm burnt out. I don't buy the Wolves tops anymore. I just buy the retro ones. But if they want to get any sort of unity back between the fans and the hierarchy, this is a very small step into doing something like that because you yourself, I know your daughter's not, at the right age yet to be able to come to the Wolves, but it's affordable now. You can go to the family section. Some of our other mates who've got children can take them. If my granddad was around today, massive, massive Wolves fan, I would have been able to take him to the grounds rather than paying overinflated ticket prices.
Yeah.
It's a small step, but a big step. And in the grand scheme of things next year, we've seen a lot of teams go down from the Premier League to the Championship and the stadiums are empty. And on the backside of that, the players aren't up for the games. They don't really care about the club. They don't perform. You languish in the Championship. You might go down to League One. We've literally been there, seen it, and done it before. So the overaiming arch by my appraisal to the club for that is the sense of they want to put bums in seats next year, a whole community get behind a football club. And I think that sums it up perfectly on my end of the view. I don't know what you think of that. So
Yeah,
we're rambling on, mate.
Like you say, when we go down, the seats are going to be empty, aren't they? So we need to try and attract those fans and get them in.
Yeah.
Positivity, and we can try and rebuild and come back at it again. But hopefully they've learned from the mistakes they've made probably for about 4 years in a row now.
Yeah.
And then they've got the reset and the refresh mark that they've probably needed.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I know it doesn't equate to Wolves, but my crew partner at work, his son's 12. If you are listening, shout out, William. He's 12 years old. Prior to this season, he does the thing, called ground hopping, when they go around the stadiums, take photos, whatever. He's done that. He's seen your Liverpools, your Tottenhams, your Arsenals. He's seen these extravagant stadiums, and he was leaning towards supporting Tottenham because he loved the sight of the ground. It's a spectacle. It's what a young fan will go to. He did the stadium tour. He was amazed by it. And Birmingham City decided to last season. They're from Birmingham. Birmingham City decided last season to help try to bring fans to the stadium. The lowered season ticket prices. They've got blue light discount. Like they get discount for the NHS and for the blue light emergency services. And their whole attempt for the Championship was to get bums in seats. William now goes to Birmingham rather than thinking about Tottenham Hotspur. Did in League One as well, by the way, and has fell in love with his local team and loves watching Birmingham City. I went round the house not long ago and he's obsessed with watching Blues. We was at Cheltenham and when we come back, they was playing Hull, I think it was. And he's there talking to me about the players. And I was like, look, that's what you want to see from every young fan. So this is why I'm saying fair play to Wolves, because the young fans need to support the local clubs. So, yeah. I don't care about getting criticism, by the way. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. So if you want to give me pelters, carry on. I really don't care. Quite thick-skinned when it comes to it, but I thought I would at least explain it.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? We're going to want to see lower ticket prices. Surely I'm going to be happy that,
yeah,
we're looking at the generation. Because in 10 years' time, they're going to be, potential season ticket holders, aren't they? If they're not one already. Yeah, we need it.
It all stems from somewhere, doesn't it? I mean, like ourselves. I've had a season ticket now. I'm 29 years old. I've had a season ticket for 18 years, I think. And that all stems from being able to go to the games with my friends at a younger age, cheaper discounted prices. 18 years ago, we wasn't as good as what we were 5 years ago. But because I was able to go to those games, because I went to the games with my granddad, I fell in love with Wolves. And then me and you are stupidly addicted to a club that we've cared for so long that we now put ourselves on the internet to get roasted each week and make a podcast about it. And that is the beauty of football. And long may it continue, but without all the shit. So our next topic of conversation, Liam, I did mention it on the pre-match preview, but I will put it out after our podcast goes live. But a good friend of the channel, Sutty, a shout out to Sutty, has asked me to try and get a fan's perspective of going into next season and bringing potentially back the Liquidator, or potentially bringing back the Liquidator. What are your thoughts on the Liquidator, mate, and what it would do?
Matt, I don't even hear it's been questioned. Like, should be brought back straight away. I don't get how I don't know why they wouldn't want to bring it back. I know that we need to be kid friendly, but look at what people chant and the swear words happen all the time, and you're telling me that those kids that play probably don't hear those swear words on a Sunday when they're playing football, or at school when they don't hear it. It's literally like we used to sing when we was little. Do you know what I mean? No brainer, just bring it back. Imagine the episode before kick-off when we're singing that at home to Lincoln on a Saturday clock. Like, I don't get why you wouldn't want it in there for me. What about you?
I think you have to take the overarching sense of this season as a whole, to be fair. And God bless his soul, Diogo Jota obviously passed away early on in the season.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about a match day experience, we're talking about Wolves, Troy, Fields of Gold, Jota's favourite song. It was beautiful for the couple of games that it was there for, but he kind of struggled to build an atmosphere going into the game from a slow song. And then obviously we still got it. I love it. I still like hearing it before the games. I think it's in a better position now earlier on, and it still pays respect to an amazing footballer and an amazing person. But we need something that kind of gets you going before a game. I'm talking those European nights where we played under the lights, Rihanna, and it was the light show going off, and it kind of got you just hyped up for the game a little bit, didn't it? As soon as that ball was kicked off, the roar from Molineux, followed by the constant singing, spurred teams on. And it kind of got you up, even for those games that weren't your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Chelseas. When we were playing Fulham at home or Brentford, where they're in the far corner of the North Bank, like, it didn't matter who we were playing, week in, week out, you felt that euphoria and wanting to start singing from the off and get behind the team. And I think that's something that we haven't had this season. There's barely any songs. All the players that we used to sing for have left. We've obviously had no joy, which is just heartbreaking as it is. But there's no willingness from the fans to want to jump and scream and shout for the team, because A, we've got no songs for players, but B, the pre-match atmosphere just isn't the one. Like, Elvis, like, you're telling me Elvis Presley and the Liquidator before the game, who are you going to choose? Surely to God, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree. We don't hand to you, fat so at the goalkeeper anymore.
No, it's one of them, isn't it? But I think obviously both of us agree that the Liquidator should come back. But obviously that's just our opinion. We want your opinions too. Get it in the comments down below. There will be a poll put on all of the social medias that I can then give to Sutty and take it with him to. I believe he's having meetings along with other fans with Nathan Shee to talk about the issue. I believe it was quite well received when there was talking about it, but there was the odd couple of people who were still against the idea. And people are entitled to their own opinions. That's absolutely fair enough. But I think from our side of view, bring back the Liquidator, get the Molineux bouncing again, get next season feeding like the fans want something out of it. Do we want to return back to the Premier League? Yes, just because promotion is the best feeling in the world. Do I want to be back in this crap league? Probably not. I'll hate it when we're back here with everything that comes with it. But that's taken away from the point. Get the Liquidator back. Get Molineux bouncing. Get it packed. Get it round. Get the fan experiences. Make them bigger and better. Let's make Molineux great. I feel like fucking Donald Trump here. Let's get Molineux back to where it was. And it's one of the best stadiums in the whole of the country. Even like that atmosphere when it's going, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Right. So, Liam, are you ready for a game?
Hopefully.
We'll try and end the podcast on a positive note after such an awful game. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting West Ham out of the way and then being able to talk about all of the good points of Wolves recently and have a little discussion into the Liquidator. But Liam, I have a team lineup in front of me from a game. I want you to guess the starting 11. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's see how you get on. And the game is quite a famous game. The final result was Wolverhampton Wanderers 6, Rotherham United 4 back on Friday the 18th of April 2014. That's how long ago it's been at the Molineux. Kenny Jackett's Barmy Army. Can you guess the first 11?
Yeah. Keamy in goal.
Correct.
Sam Ricky.
It was indeed.
Yeah. Danny Bath.
Yep.
Stearman.
Christ, mate. I hope you ain't got this up on your screen.
Nah. Scott Goldborn.
Scott Goldborn was in centre.
It's got to be McDonald and Price, centre mid.
It's McDonald. It's not.
Is it Evans?
It's Lee Evans, yeah.
Dave Edwards played in front of him, didn't he?
He did.
And then was it Sacco, Dicko, and James Henry?
Ever so close. It was Sacco, Dicko, and Michael Jacobs.
Yeah, what a game that was, man. That was, I mean, everyone kept running on the pitch, didn't they? And
that
was. 10 get off. That was a game and a half, that was.
It was brilliant.
Was it Ben Pringle? He had like blonde
yeah.
And he could whip a ball and shoot from anywhere, couldn't he? Like, that was a good game, that was.
He only came on in the 69th minute, Ben Pringle.
Yeah.
But what a famous game that was. It was Nuadico with a hat-trick against his former club. Dave Edwards, Sam Ricketts on the 90th minute with Kevin McDonald in the 90 plus 7.
What a
Liam,
play.
because you've done that so quick, I'm going to have to get another game up for you because that was ridiculous.
I love that team, man. That team was quality, weren't it?
It was. Right.
I'm trying to think of our sub. Would it have been Jonathan Flatt, Landell, James Henry? Who else would have been sub that day? I bet Leon Clark was in our team then as well, weren't he?
He was. Matt Doherty was there, obviously.
Bloody hell, yeah.
Yes. Okay. I've got another game for you. I think this might be a bit too easy, so we might have to do 3 games. But just some of it's bringing me back a lot of nostalgia, some of the fun games from back in the day. This was at the Cardiff City Stadium, where Wolverhampton Wanderers famously won 1-0 after Cardiff missed 2 last-minute penalties. Friday the 6th of April.
I think you at this game.
I was at this game. Me, Aaron. Was you there as well?
Yeah, I was with you, yeah.
Yeah, me, you, Aaron, and Nick, I believe.
Probably Owen. I think Owen was there as well.
I think so. So, can you guess the first 11 to this game, mate?
Well, you can't forget John Woody in goal, can you? Saving them pens.
John Woody was in goal.
John Woody was in goal. Barry Douglas.
Yeah.
Bolly, Cody, Ryan Bennett.
Yep.
Right wing back. Doherty.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously Neves in the middle. Who would have been his partner?
Neves was in the middle.
Alfred and Dye start.
No, we didn't know.
Stace.
Roman Sace in the midfield as a midfield too.
Bonatini. Did he start?
He did.
Yeah. I know Cav gave the penalty away. I'm going to say Cav and Jota started he.
Jota started, but Cavallero didn't. He came in the 67th.
Costa.
No.
All right, let me think of this last one. One left. I'm going to scream, aren't I?
He was a brilliant striker for us.
Afobe.
Benik Afobe.
Yeah. We played a fun too. I can't believe, where we gave that penalty away. It was a soft penalty as well, Cody's. It was a soft penalty for me.
It was, yeah.
And then Cavallero, we just split, didn't he?
Yeah.
How did we get away winning that 1-0, man? What a game. That's got to be the greatest win in the championship.
Are back. So, Liam, final round. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Blackburn Rovers 3 on Sunday, the 22nd of May, 2011. For people who don't remember, this was the game where Wolves were fighting to stay up on the last day of the season. So were Blackburn Rovers, and it was goals within the game that kept both teams up and from around the ground. That was one of the best days of my life, by the way. I loved
Stephen
it.
Hunt scored there.
Stephen Hunt scored famously in the latter stages of the game. And then the players decided, Blackburn knew that they were staying up, Wolves knew that they were staying up, and Blackburn literally just kept the ball at the top end of the pitch, and we just didn't even go for it. We didn't care. We were both staying up. So, Liam, what was the starting lineup for that day?
Did Marcus Hanneman play in goal?
He didn't know.
No. Was it Hennessy?
It was. Wayne Hennessy in goal.
Foley right back.
It was.
Centre halves. Christoph.
Nope.
Zubar.
Nope.
Elakobe.
Was it left back?
Yeah. Who was centre halves? Neil Collins.
Nope.
No. Craddock.
Jody Craddock was one of the centre backs.
Yeah.
Along with, do you want a little bit of help?
Yeah, go on.
Aloni at centre back.
Oh no.
Michael Mancien at centre back.
Hunt scored, didn't he? But I don't know if he started. Did Hunt start?
Hunt did start on the left.
Yeah. Carl is going to have to have started that game.
Carl Henry.
And Goody Oliver. Surely he started. No. Jones.
Who did you say, sorry?
Jones.
Not Jones.
Henry, Dave Edwards.
Nope.
Bloody hell.
I believe in this season he was on loan again.
No, is it? O'Hara.
Jamie O'Hara started.
O'Hara. Stephen. Matt Jarvis.
Matt Jarvis was on the right-hand side. And then we played a 4-4-1-1. So we played an attacking midfielder and a striker.
Was Dave Edwards in the attacking midfield?
He wasn't, no.
No.
It was an out-of-position player. Played at number 10.
Kevin Dole start.
He didn't know.
Nah.
We've got him on one, people. We've got him thinking.
So who have I got to get now?
Just the number 10 and the number 9.
Ebanks Blake start.
He didn't know.
Iwalumo.
We've had one other beanpole striker.
Not my offer either.
No. He was really decent in a Wolves shirt, to be fair.
Oh, let me think of the number 10. Jarvis Hunt, Henry, Guardiola, Edwards.
Remember,
You said
the
that-
number 10 was out of position.
Yeah.
Was famously a utility man for Wolves and was always picked to playing in a different position because he used to play there as a kid. And he was crap there, by the way.
I've lost it, man. Go on, help me with that one.
Number 10, well, technically number 11, but in the number 10 role was a Stephen Ward
Oh,
in that game.
he played number 10.
Playing number
No.
10 in a 4-4-1-1. And famously, the striker that was actually half decent for Wolves, bit of a beanpole, was Stephen Fletcher.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Stephen
good.
Fletcher.
That's poor. Should have got Fletcher.
In all fairness, mate, I can't slate you because I don't think I'd have been able to get through the first two as quickly as what you did. I think I might have been stuck on just the odd couple of players like Bonnetti. I'd have probably forgot about him playing in that game against Cardiff, to be honest. But
It's that through me because it was so far away. I could just remember the squad. I just couldn't remember who the majority died. Should have got Fletcher. But yeah, I would have struggled with Ward as a number 10. That was a bit of a position to put him at, to be fair.
just 3 games from our wonderful history as a club that sprang to mind, and I thought,
Yeah.
you know what, brilliant games, brilliant time, brilliant atmosphere, happier times at Wolves, and hopefully those times can come back in the future.
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up there, Liam. I'm very happy with that today, mate.
And yeah,
Thank you very much for jumping on.
still that, mate. On to the next one.
On to the next one. Just obviously a gentle reminder that there will be a lot more content coming out in the next few days. I will try and spread it out as much as what I can, but be sure to keep an eye on the channel. Please like, subscribe and share. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and all that good stuff. Thank you very much again, Liam. It's much appreciated. It may not have been our day at the West Ham Stadium yesterday, but we are now one step closer to relegation and hopefully getting some bright stars back at Wolves. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week.